Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Aquarius energy. And like usual, the top row is going to be high vibe Aquarius energy. The bottom row is going to be a more worldly, shadowy Aquarius energy. We've all got our dualistic nature. We have our more worldly nature, which can be considered our more immature nature. And we have our more high vibrational nature, having hope and faith and belief and love in ourself, in our dreams. And sometimes we'd like to live life differently, but it would require us to make changes in our life or stand up for ourselves or speak our truth. And some people could be battling within themselves, but there's going to be other people in the world that have gone through the debate within themselves and they are ready to move forward in life differently, and they are moving forward in life differently. High vibe energy is becoming more independent of the things that used to manipulate you, getting more clear about your truth, healing, growing, maturing yourself. And some people are ready to move forward in life differently. And when we do that, there can be some other people in our life and in the world who aren't moving forward in that way, because we all are on our own journey and we learn lessons and we heal at different times in life and look at life differently at different stages of life. So we're going to read it from that perspective too. So listen, we all tap into Aquarius energy. It has to do with what our dreams are. Are we more motivated by the world, status, image, indulgence? Are we more about ourself? It's all about us, and people are supposed to indulge us in kind of some immature, shadowy ways of being. We might know some people who are like that. So listen to your intuition. High vibe people aren't willing to just settle for the illusion. They have a dream and they want their dreams to come into reality based on love and hope, and not just settling for things that just look good, but some people are. So let's go see what's going on in Aquarius energy. The reason for the bottom row's reading is stuck energy. So this card kind of reminds me of the Chariot card. Sometimes we're tipped out of balance. You know, we haven't from love gotten balance within ourselves. We haven't offset our fears and our insecurities or our defensive nature with love and compassion and forgiveness. So we can keep repeating an old cycle, a way of viewing life, a way of living life. Maybe because in the high vibe energy, we have planning and action, which kind of makes me think of Eight of Wands energy, fire energy. We have to even be inspired to want to wrap our brain around this game of life. And some people aren't. And some people, when they feel stuck, they listen to their intuition and they take this action to figure out, why do I feel stuck? Other people can feel stuck and then, oh, well, I don't know why I feel stuck. And they just keep living life the way they live it, just hoping things will change without taking inspired action within themselves to try to figure out why they feel stuck. So let's kind of look at the top row first. We have fear, the loving man, victim mentality, and the healing light. So the way I read tarot is the masculine figures could be how we view ourselves, how we present ourselves in the world, how we take action in the world, because we can all present ourselves any way we want to in the world, but how do we really think and feel? And the feminine figures can represent how we think and feel. In shadow, the planning and action card can be the reason why the reading came out. You might know people who do live more from their mind than their heart. How do I get unstuck? How do I make it look like I've healed, I've grown, I've matured, without really having done the inner work to heal and grow and mature myself? And so sometimes some people, they're like strategic in the sense that I have fears and insecurities. I know I'll go find someone who's loving and nurturing and supportive instead of me learning to love myself. and healing from my fears and insecurities. I'll keep my fears and insecurities or my self-limiting beliefs, and I'll go get in a relationship with someone who's loving. That's the answer. And some people have done that. Some people are doing that, trying to present themselves as like being more emotionally mature or wanting to bring a dream into reality based on love, but they have a lot of fear of love, but they want to be in relationships with people who are loving. That's the answer. I feel stuck. I know. I'll go try to get someone who's loving and hopeful and believing to get in a relationship with me. I'm sure that will solve my problems. But then, because they still have this victim mentality, which can be, I don't have hope and faith and belief in love, I haven't learned to love myself, they get in relationships with people who are loving and nurturing and supportive, but they never get out of their ego nature to connect in with themselves emotionally, to do the work to offer them self-love, to heal. And some people, look to people like some people look to drugs or alcohol or gambling. You're the answer to my problems. I feel stuck. I want to look like I've healed, like I've moved on, like I'm not the same person I was before. And I want to try to get in a relationship with someone who's loving and nurturing, who the victim mentality card reminds me of the Five of Pentacles. Maybe there's someone who's loving that feels left out in the cold because something they had been in didn't work out. And maybe if they have fear about their dreams coming into reality, then I can present myself as a loving person to try to get that person who might have their own fears and insecurities about if they're going to find someone maybe to be in a relationship with, or a job or a friend, and I'll get them to get in a relationship with me. But the high vibe people are inspired to keep moving forward in life, and they're inspired to heal from their own fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs to keep being in a hopeful, believing energy. And then they can get in a relationship with someone who doesn't do that. Well, the truth sets us free to live our life differently. Well, if we're in a relationship and you're a high vibe person who has hope and faith and belief in love, you do this inner work, and you have some people in your life that are like, well, no, I just want to move forward with you in this way. You be like you and I'll be like me. Well, that's someone who has fear, insecurity, or pride, or ego, or defensiveness, or immaturity, or bossy, or controlling, or something that's kind of shadowy. And that's the foundation they operate from because they haven't done the inner work to free themselves from it, manipulating them. And then it holds back the loving people from having their dreams come into reality. It's like you get imprisoned by the things that imprison them. And eventually the high vibe people kind of realize that my dreams aren't going to come into reality here, because the person I'm in a relationship with refuses to be enlightened to the truth, or to heal or grow or mature themselves. All we can do is offer people love and encouragement and resources, but they have to do the work within themselves to be willing to deal with the truth. They have to be willing to heal. And we could have some people in our life that are kind of fearful of looking at life differently, having hope and faith and belief in their dreams, but because of that they trust you and they love you, they do this work within themselves to keep moving forward in hope and faith and belief with you, inspired to have hope and faith and belief in themselves. So the people who do move forward with us in this way are the people who are willing to do this work within themselves. Not everybody's on the same page. Sometimes, we have people in our life. It could be an adult child. It could be siblings. It could be coworkers. We can be different ages. We can have different levels of life experience. But because they trust and love you, they take this action to keep moving forward, working together with you in a just and fair manner, treating you the way you treat them. You know, love is supposed to be just and fair, and treating other people the way you like to be treated. So you probably have some people in your life who are moving forward with you in that way. Some people who might approach you, and as you've approached other people in the world, you know, you offer people the truth and love and encouragement to see who wants to move forward with you in this way. Some of the people that you could approach, some of the people who could approach you, this victim mentality will be a stumbling block. Because you've already been in relationship with people who want to move forward with you, but it might be just because they feel left out in the cold. It might be just because a different situation in their life didn't work out, but they haven't done the inner work. And they kind of want to bring that energy of being stuck, repeating an old pattern, and you're like, I've already done that pattern of relationship. I've already been in relationship with people who might have had some of these shadowy traits and characteristics. And I think with those people, you'll wish them peace, love, and joy, but I'm moving forward. Looking at this card as the Eight of Wands, it's like harnessing high vibe Sagittarius, which is about being inspired to look at life as an adventure to be lived, to be inspired to illuminate the truth, to deal with the truth, to have hope and faith and belief. And some people won't be coming with you because they're still emotionally in fear of love, fear of being more authentically themselves, fear of being vulnerable, fear of being hurt, fear of not being able to control people if that's their issue, you know, or fear of not being good enough. And then they want, it's kind of like it would stifle you from moving forward. And shadowy Sagittarius can be people who might be kind of immature and just want to indulge in a relationship. I feel stuck. Things aren't working out the way I want. Will you indulge me in a relationship to make me feel better? Well, high vibe people don't want to be in a relationship with someone who just wants to be an immature player. I just want to feel better, and I want to get in a relationship with you to feel better. But I don't plan on doing life any differently than I've been doing it. It's like, well, I wish you peace, love, and joy, but I'm moving on. You know, if you haven't done this work within yourself, even though you might seem like a loving person, to a degree might be a loving person, might present yourself like a loving person, if you haven't worked through, you know, the Five of Pentacles, the high vibe people are harnessing high vibe, Five of Pentacles. They've learned lessons in life. They are moving forward. They're going through a period of feeling left out in the cold from some things that they've detached from, but they realized, I can't keep living my life that way or staying in that job, that friendship, or that relationship. Because the Five of Pentacles in Taurus energy can be, we have a different philosophy of life. They could be more about ego and image and money and materialism, and that's just how they view life. And the high vibe people are like, yeah, there's things in the world I want too, but I'm not willing to sacrifice love to have those things. I don't want to make my life about just indulging myself in the things of the world. I want my dreams to come into reality. And that means I need to be in relationships with other people whose philosophy of life is that I choose love. I choose to have hope and faith. We have this dualistic nature. Which aspect of ourself are we aligning with that we think is the right way to live life? You know, am I going to listen to my intuition and love to guide my decisions? Or do I think I have to protect myself from being hurt, live more from my defensive egoic nature, or just work with things of the world instead of listening to my intuition and love? You know, And sometimes we just have different philosophies of life and how we view life and what motivates and inspires us. And we want to be in relationships with people who are motivated and inspired by the same things that we are. Some people, this would look like I had a new beginning. This would look like I'm living the life. This would look like I'm a loving person. This would look like I'm in a relationship with a loving person. But it's more the worldly ego dream. And high vibe people want to be in relationships with people who look at life from a higher perspective. It isn't about you. It isn't about your ego. It isn't about your indulgence. It isn't about being so caught up in those things of the world. It's being illuminated to the truth. But some people maybe haven't healed from some past pain and heartbreak. And so they don't trust other people, maybe gave up on their dreams a long time ago, decided to make their life more about how victorious they looked in the world. And then they try to find people who will help them look that way, but they're not really that type of person themselves. So I think the high vibe people were willing to face their fears. They offered love to their own fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs, realizing that if they didn't do the inner work, they were going to probably keep rejecting loving, encouraging, supportive people in their life because they kind of weren't aligning with loving and believing in themselves. And then they'd get themselves in relationships with other people who were happy they didn't love and believe in themselves, or they were more fear-focused or ego-focused or image-focused or codependent. And they've already realized, when I live my life like that, my dreams don't come into reality. I feel stuck. And in order to get I would like other people to change, but the only person I can change is me. So I need to do this work within myself. When I quit aligning with whatever tempts me in my more worldly, shadowy, egoic nature, when I quit aligning with that, I will quit aligning with other people who are in that energy. And I'll keep taking action in truth and love, acting with character and integrity, not indulging poor behavior in myself, not willing to indulge other people in poor behavior. I can still treat everybody I meet with love and respect the way I like to be treated, but the only people I'm going to move forward with in a more involved relationship are the people who are on the same page as me. And there's some people in the world who are watching some high vibe people do this. But some of those people, even though they could have love for some of those people, either they don't feel good enough within themselves, or they are more consumed. Well, I don't know if we'd have the status or the image or the money, or, there's these things that I might like to indulge in to make me feel better. And maybe you don't indulge in those things to feel better. The things of the world are meant to be enjoyed, but it's supposed to be enjoyed from a place of love so it doesn't get a stranglehold on you. And for some people, it's kind of knocked them out of balance where they've given those things, or their ego, or their fear, or their defensive nature, or other people in their life, that they're maybe codependent on, and they're unwilling to maybe illuminate the truth, speak the truth, detach from things in their life or people in their life that kind of manipulate them. We all can have different people in our life. Well, you mean I'd have to become independent of some people and live my authentic life? I'd have to quit worrying about what the world thinks of me, because really, the world's going to think of you, all the different people in the world, they're going to think of you whatever based on who they are, really. That's shadowy energies getting caught up in the illusion of what will people think. People are going to think of you whatever way they think of you based on who they are. You could be Jesus or Mother Teresa, and they'd think you're an awful person. just because they're people who criticize and insult other people to make themselves feel better. The people who are loving and encouraging, who know that they don't know everything that goes on behind closed doors. You know, most human beings realize that people have issues to deal through. The high vibe people applaud people who free themselves from things that manipulate them. Were you living your life in a way that wasn't aligned with your truth? Were you in relationships with people who weren't acting in a just and fair and loving manner? You know, high vibe people have learned lessons in life, and they know that other high vibe people want other people to love and believe in themselves, to not be imprisoned and oppressed and confined and restricted by their fear, their ego, by other people. They want them to be free to live their authentic life from love. But some people are very afraid of maybe even being more authentically themselves, because they let all these things of the world and people and whatever convince them, I guess, that they have to live their life this way. Like, what would people say? Life is about having this certain status and image and trying to manipulate people to view you a certain way. What if you were to go live your authentic life, doing and hanging out with and careers that you really loved and what really motivated and inspired you? And some people aren't willing to do it because they have people they're codependent on, that they look to. They haven't learned to fill their own cup emotionally. They haven't learned their own worth and value. And they could have people in their life that maybe they even feel like those people wouldn't kind of encourage them. You know, because maybe they live their life a certain way. And if some people were to live their authentic life, well, now you've changed. You're different, you know. Some people won't move forward without other people. If they don't come with and live their life this way, then I'm not going to move forward and live my life that way. Codependent energy. Some people don't believe they could manifest, don't believe, maybe again, haven't learned to love themselves. I don't think someone who's loving and nurturing would love me. Well, until they do this work within themselves to figure out and appreciate what they bring to the table, they're going to keep being in lack mentality and victim mentality until they work through their past pain and heartbreak of why didn't other relationships work out. I mean, we can all be fearful because we've dealt with people in our life and we thought it was going to move forward in this emotionally balanced, loving way, and then it didn't. Well, how did we contribute to it not working out? Are we willing to deal with the truth? Where did I need to grow and heal and mature myself? What about the people I got in a relationship with? Did I get caught up in illusion about them? Was I staying in denial about the truth of who they were? Was I trying to move forward in a relationship, but, you know, with someone who had some shadowy traits and characteristics and like, oh, I can change them? And then we get in a relationship with them and it doesn't move forward like we wanted? Well, maybe the people we were in relationships had some growing and healing and maturing to do. Are we willing to see the truth of that? And some people aren't willing to see the truth of that. Sometimes people can love people, and those people, you know, it's kind of weird. Like some people, like, this is different. If I were to move forward in this way with these people in high vibrational energy, it could require them to deal with some people in their life that they did have love for, and in a lot of ways they could have loved life, but it could be to acknowledge the difference, you know. But the way I equate it is kind of like playing piano. Some people are better at playing piano than other people playing piano. Does that mean everybody was at the skill level of what they knew? But some people do have this like, well, if I were to say, this seems different and I like this. It's kind of like they're saying, well, then that was wrong or that was bad. I don't know why we have to look at it like that, but some people do kind of have that black and white way of looking at life. How about everybody's doing the best that they can? And we appreciate the work and effort people did put into being maybe loving and nurturing people to the best of their ability, but maybe they had some issues to work through. Can't we love and appreciate the work and effort they put in when they were in relationship with us? But we've met some people who are more loving, more giving, more authentic. Just because those people have learned some more lessons in life than some other people have freed themselves from more things that could have manipulated some other people. But for some people, that can be really challenging to them. And it could cause them a lot of inner conflict about just maybe even seeing that some of the people who they loved, that they had hung out with, didn't encourage them to really be more authentically themselves, or maybe have hope and faith and belief in their dreams or something. And it could be hard to work through. And so for some people, it's just, if they're used to kind of wearing a false mask, and that makes them feel safe and secure, isn't it good enough if I just present myself as loving to you, and when we go out in the world, I present myself as loving, and I do my best to try to be loving, but I'm really not? It's kind of more doing all of those things to be in a relationship because I have these fears and insecurities. I really haven't gotten emotionally balanced within myself. And that's how some people want to keep living their life, because I don't want to have to, well, for one, it takes work and effort to free yourself from the things that manipulate you. But then I really would be, it's kind of weird too, to think that, I think there's some people in the world, what if I am more authentically myself and vulnerable in a relationship? And then what if it doesn't work out? Then they could feel like they're hurt at a more core foundational level. I think people should be proud of being authentically themselves and loving and giving and nurturing. Then they know they gave everything they could. And we're still going to get in relationships with people where we have these differences. I want to live in a big town, you want to live in a small town. I'm kind of more motivated and inspired by some of these things, and maybe you're not. We just have all these different differences. But we can at least be proud of the fact that we were authentically ourselves, that we know we gave everything we were being honest and loving and giving. And then we know that if that doesn't work out, we can be proud of ourselves that we weren't wearing a false mask, which some of these people aren't realizing is what kind of sabotages some of their relationships. Because the Chariot card is like someone trying to present themselves as harnessing high vibe Cancer energy. Oh, I believe in love. I love myself. I believe in love. But it's kind of more to want to be in a relationship, to move forward in relationships, to look victorious and successful in the world. But it's not really operating from love. It's like using their emotions manipulatively in a relationship. Because they don't really want to be more authentically themselves. It's like hiding behind their ego nature. And then other people could feel like, I don't feel like you're really in this relationship. And I want to be in relationships with people I can have a deep, meaningful relationship with. And some people, I don't know, just have a big fear of being more authentically themselves. And they could get in their ego about it. And then for some people, I think it could be that if it didn't work out, maybe they don't feel like they have it within them to pick themselves back up again. You know, people can throw us under the bus, kick us to the curb. Do we love and believe in ourselves that we can work through that, to love ourselves, to pick ourselves up, to have new beginnings? And some people might seem like loving people in the world, but maybe they just have, and believe me, I know, those first times in relationships that it doesn't work out, it's really hard to pick yourself back up again. And it's like a hole in the middle of your body, like a whole circle has been punched out, But as we gain experience in life, it's kind of like muscle memory. We get better and better. And we also know from life experience that we end up meeting other people. We could have a friend who moves away that was our best friend. We end up meeting other people, and it's a different type of relationship. And it's its own unique relationship. And we meet different people to date. And we end up, life goes on. And if we have hope and faith and belief that life goes on and that we're going to meet different people, but there's going to be some people in your life who aren't going to come with you, and there's going to be other people that will do this work with you, and people you'll meet, people who will approach you that are willing to, if we bring our issues out into the light, because sometimes things can seem really scary or shameful or whatever. We're all human beings, like little children, perpetually learning how to walk in the world. We're going to make lots of mistakes because we have lots of lessons to learn. And if we're willing to admit, I've made mistakes, I've had lessons to learn, I was fearful of love, I was out of balance, I did get caught up in these things of the world. Shedding light on them is shedding love and compassion on them. Seeing them for what they are, but our mistakes aren't who we are. It's just a lesson that we learned in life. But we have to be willing to get out of our ego to just even admit that, yeah, I'm not a perfect human being. Shocking, I'm a fallible human being like everyone else in the world. We've all not felt good enough. We've all wanted these things of the world. We could have indulged in some things in excess. We could have went out in the edge in lots of ways. Some people right now are going out on the edge of, I love them. And they have lessons to learn in the area. In tarot, we have like the Emperor and the Empress. They harness all 4 kings and queens. We have to go learn those lessons. And there's some people right now that could be a very loving person, but it's always trying to not kind of wanting to deal with the truth that people are who they are. And yes, it's good to be like the hands and feet of God in the world and offer love and respect to people and resources, but we don't have to get in a relationship with them. And our intuition might have even told us, something's wrong here. I don't think we should do this. I think this person is kind of defensive to love, but that can be us in our ego nature. Oh no, I can heal them. I'm going to love them, and we have to realize if some people were motivated to be a more loving person, they would be a more loving person. The people who are defensive to love, as they went through life and had to go through these debates within themselves of what kind of person to be, they ended up over here saying, I'm defensive to love. Well, if we want to spend our life trying to convince somebody who's operating from a different philosophy of life than us, how hard would it be to make you change your philosophy of life to become maybe a bossy, bitchy person or a immature, indulgent, self-centered person, if that's not who you are? It's very hard to change people's philosophy of life. And we can be a very loving person, But also, it can be a little bit of ego where either we haven't learned to love ourselves, but we can be a very loving person to other people. But if people who are on the same page as us, it's kind of like, oh, that's different. Oh, that's weird. I'm not used to being in relationships with people who treat me the way I treat them. I'm used to this pattern. I go offer love to people who kind of aren't very loving or have some issues, and that can kind of be us and our ego. And it's not challenging us to grow and mature and heal ourselves. If we were in a relationship with someone who is on the same page as us, for one thing, we might not want to do it because it feels out of our comfort zone. We're not used to it. But it also then makes us, it challenges us, it brings up new issues for us to deal with. When we stay in relationships with people who aren't challenging us, except to maybe be patient and loving, which might be a strong suit of ours anyway, but it doesn't challenge us to deal with our own fears and insecurities of letting someone love us and treat us the way we treat them. And it makes us deal with our own feeling of unworthiness. No, I love people. I don't let people love me, And then we get ourselves in these relationships where we have these lessons to learn about maybe indulging people in poor behavior, not being in relationships with people who are on the same page as us. At one time, we could have been on the same page, and then over time, things could have changed and it kind of got tipped out of balance. Or we start to realize that we're motivated by different things, we have different dreams, and then we have to do this work within ourselves to love and believe in ourselves. And then also yep, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to repeat this past pattern. This forced me to do this work within myself to love and believe in myself and believe I do deserve to be in relationships with people who treat me the way I treat them. And I'm inspired, because I don't want to repeat this pattern, I am inspired to move forward to be in relationships with people where I'm not going to indulge poor behavior in myself or others, and I want to be in a relationship with other people who are in that energy. And they're not going to indulge poor behavior in me or in themselves. And we both take responsibility for working through our own issues to keep making the free will choice to be truthful and just and fair and loving and acting with character and integrity. So, let's go look at the bottom row here. We start out with the card not showing itself. Some people are in this type of situation right now. Others of you were in a situation like this before. We could have realized that we either were both rejecting harnessing this energy in a high vibe way because we had lessons to learn, or we harness this energy differently, and one person harnessed it in a more high vibe way and someone else harnessed it in a more worldly or shadowy way. Hidden motivations. Well, we've all been, I think the hardest lesson to learn is to love yourself, which is what the Chariot talks about in high vibe. Learning to do the work to offset our fears and insecurities, to get ourselves balanced from a place of love, where it's kind of like driving down the road of life and not going into the ditch, either indulging people at poor behavior or being in poor behavior ourselves to a degree. And I think the hardest lesson to learn is to love yourself and to become more authentically yourself and work through the issues of why do I hide behind my ego nature or my defensive nature. I got all these lessons to learn in life, right? So we can all have been in more codependent energy where I want these things of the world, but I really haven't learned to love myself. So let's go find some people who are on the same level of life view and understanding and maturity level as me, and we're going to learn some lessons together. And if we do this work together, and we're willing to grow and heal and mature ourselves together, we'll keep moving to the next phases of life together. But sometimes we have some people in our life who keep doing that with us, and we have some people in our life who, we learn lessons from each other, and then the point, it's kind of like we learn the lesson we were meant to learn from each other, and that phase of life is over, and then we, like some people were meant to be in our life for a period of time, not long term or a long time. So we have professional assistance, great gratitude, new beginnings. I love that card with that little baby there. New beginnings, the sacred temple, and friends and colleagues. So, needless, we're human beings. We all want to be in relationships with other people. We could all have been in situations where jobs, friendships, or romantic relationships didn't work out in the stuck energy. We're looking for community. That could be the professional assistance. We could get into friendships and relationships with people with a great gratitude. We could have been happy. It was a new beginning. And I think the people who have hope and faith and belief and love were hoping that this relationship was going to move forward with the sacred temple and friends and colleagues, where we both work through these issues to go to the next phase of life. You know, that as we're in this relationship, working together cooperatively, we'd hope that people take action to love themselves and get themselves more balanced. You know, that when we're in a supportive, encouraging environment, you know, initially we might just enjoy the supportive, encouraging environment. But a lot of people, when they're in that type of environment, then they would start to do some work within themselves about some of their own fears and insecurities and why they don't feel good enough and why they don't love and believe in themselves and why they're not more authentically themselves and why they kind of, you know, present themselves one way in the world but internally feel differently. And so, you know, and I think that's what we're meant to do. That when we're in these loving, supportive environments, we do that inner work. But that's not how some people view life. And some people's, in their Aquarius energy of the dream they have, of the dream relationship, can be where they, whether they're male or female, they might operate, the masculine energies can represent we're operating more from our egoic nature. And the way some people can view life is that I am in codependent energy. I don't think that's like my job. That's someone else's job. That's why I get in a relationship. That's your job to fill up my cup emotionally. I haven't learned to love myself. I don't think that's my job. You know, when we were children, in families, we look to other people to fill our cup emotionally and make us feel more stable and grounded. And some people are still repeating that pattern. They haven't been inspired to do this work within themselves or even maybe see the truth of it, that I am supposed to do this work within myself. But some people are like, no, I don't have to do that. I do have these fears and insecurities, but I have an idea. I'm just going to present myself as this loving person in the world so people will get in relationship with me. And then I'm grateful other people have gotten in a relationship with me. It makes it look like I'm moving forward victoriously and successfully, where maybe and it might help them feel more balanced within themselves. And it makes them look like they're moving forward in a new beginning and like they've healed or grown or matured in some way, but they really haven't. You know, and then they get in relationships with people and people kind of realize that they have these issues within themselves they haven't dealt with. And the people offer them love and encouragement, but eventually people see, my dream can't come into reality with you. And then these people, they don't see the truth of it. You know, it could just wonder, kind of like, poor, pitiful me, you know. I offer people, you know, and even the people who are loving, who try to change other people, can feel like, poor, pitiful me, it never works out. It's like, well, how about we deal with the truth of the situation? Quit living in illusion. Quit living in fantasy land. Just because we'd like to be in a relationship, just because we could be attracted to someone, does that mean we should get in a relationship with people? No. How do you live your life? How do you view life? What are some of your traits and characteristics in a relationship? What are you motivated and inspired by? I'm not going to try to change people's free will. They are the way they are because of all these cumulative things that happened in their life where they came out living life a certain way. You're bossy and controlling, you're immature, you're materialistic, you're whatever, stubborn, bossy, whatever. Have a lack mentality. I am not going to try to change you. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and I'm going to distance. The Eight of Wands can be about moving away. We have all sorts of people that we can work with in the world, see out, going out in the world. You know, am I going to move forward with you in a more committed relationship? No. But we had to learn those lessons, and we have to see the truth. I keep trying to, if I'm operating from hope and faith and belief and love, and I keep getting in relationships with people who are manipulated by some things that stop them from living their life like that, I see the truth of it. Okay, you know, that's too bad. I would like to, for reasons that I would like to be in a relationship with you, but I've already been there and I've done that. And it doesn't, we both have to be on the same page. We both have to be balanced within ourselves. We both have to have freed us to be on the same page. You know, some of the people that we've gotten into friendships and relationships with, they could be grateful for the help and assistance you did give them that could have been healing in a lot of ways, but it still doesn't mean I'm willing to live my life differently than I have viewed living my life. I'm still not willing to give up my defensive nature. I'm still not willing to give up my more self-centered nature or my bossy nature or my materialistic nature. So they could be gratitude, but the whole thing is they could be looking for someone who is always willing to play that role in their life with the professional assistance card. Because they're unwilling to do this work within themselves and maybe lack even inspiration to do it based on how they view life. I don't have to. You know, high vibe energy is where you put in work and effort to free yourself from what manipulates you, to be more independent of your shadow nature and people in the world that manipulate you, to love and believe in yourself. And some people are like, that's just not how I view life. And I might not even want to be more independent. I might like living my life like this. I might like the people I hang out with and the people I align with. And I totally don't even relate to that. You know, high vibe Aquarius is willing to step outside of societal norms to bring needed change to the world. And some people are like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. You know, I'm willing to conform to the world and kind of do what the world tells me to do and live my life to make what I think the most people would feel like. I don't want to be authentically myself. I don't want to shine my authentic light. I don't want to be like someone who is more bold and brave and confident. I like just conforming to the world. You know, that Bible verse, don't conform to the world, but be renewed, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And some people are like, no, that's not me. That might be you, but it's not me. And I'm going to go find someone who is willing to play this role in my life, or someone I can play that role in their life. I like to be viewed as the loving person to people who have fear and insecurity, then I look like a loving person. They view me as a loving person. If they ever heal and grow and mature themselves and they want a more just and fair and balanced, more deep, meaningful, or authentic relationship, bye, you healed. Okay, I'm going to go find someone else. Because that's the role they like to play in people's life. And you might know some people that you could think right now are doing that in a relationship. And they might have their hidden motivations for it, because I don't want to deal with my own issues. Do I have someone who's maybe fearful or insecure or codependent? I don't think they're going anywhere. For some people, my big deal is I don't want to get in a relationship and have anybody leave. Maybe that gets me in my ego. And I just want to have someone to be in a relationship with. I don't care if I love them. I don't care if they love me. Maybe because by worldly standards, maybe it would make me look like I have all justice in the world. I have the status or the image. The sacred temple is kind of reminding me of like a shadowy Taurus energy. Maybe I just want to work with people where if I have the stability or the security or the status or the image or someone to be in a relationship with, I'm good. I don't want to be in a relationship with someone where it challenges me to deal with these issues within myself. That's not where I'm at. I may never want to be there. I'm going to go find the people that are on the same page as me who want to live life the way I want to live it. And I'm okay with that. That is my dream life. And high vibe people just need to see the truth of it. We would wish that they would move forward with us in a more, maybe, looking at life from a higher perspective, but we can't make people do that. So we keep being inspired to invest in the people who are in our life, or reach out and get to know people to find out who else is on the same page as me. Let's go look. What is the hidden motivations card about? You know, some people, a more worldly, shadowy energy, it could be more the ego, the image, defensive to love, not wanting to, well, the truth could be maybe I don't want to be more just and fair. The Ten of Swords, because of the Six of Cups. So the Six of Cups is Scorpio energy. Some people do prefer to live more from their mind than their heart, and they like to be more in repeat an old pattern. I don't ever want to step out of my comfort zone. I like doing my comfort zone. I don't care if there's nothing new to learn here. I don't care if it's different people, different faces. I don't want to do life any differently. For some, shadowy Scorpio, you know, some people are more comfortable with a more emotionally shallow, superficial life because we are emotionally complex human beings, and we do have our fears and our insecurities and our self-limiting beliefs. And some people are like, yeah, I don't want to deal. I don't want to connect in with my more deep emotional nature. It's confusing. I just choose to live my life not maybe really connecting in with my emotions and my intuition. I find it too challenging to work through it. So, you know, and the thing is, this car, it looks like it's kind of stuck in mud and water. What would solve that? The sun, the healing light, of course, is remind me of the sun. High vibe Leo energy, but they're operating from more shadowy Leo energy. We'd have to offer truth and love, you know, in this case, literally it would be the sun to dry up the mud. Then we'd have to take work and effort to get ourselves unstuck, and that all takes work and effort. And some people are like, forget about it. You know, I'm okay. It might be a more emotionally shallow, superficial life. I might get in relationships with people that are more emotionally shallow and superficial. But I choose that because I don't want to do this. And we all have free will. And that could be what they choose. Now, for some people who view themselves as loving, and they could have been loving and nurturing in a lot of ways in a relationship, but they could have gotten in a relationship with someone who did some work within themselves to work through some issues who are more loving and mature or balanced than they are. And sometimes that can really bother people if they harness, like, you know, have this way of viewing themselves, and kind of gets them in their ego, which is what shadowy energy can be about, and their competitive nature. And sometimes they want to backstab and betray the people who kind of illuminated the truth to them. You know, we can all have this way of living life, and then we can come across other people that is like, oh, wow, I have some growing and maturing to do, or I'm kind of petty or envious or jealous or full of myself or something. And sometimes instead of dealing with the truth of it, because we can meet more mature, more bold, brave, confident people than us, more loving, giving, nurturing people than us. And sometimes people can go into their shadow nature where instead of seeing the truth of it and dealing with the truth of it, that if I admire that and respect it, I have the free will to do this work within myself to kind of grow and mature and heal myself. But that sometimes isn't what the option people choose, and they decide, you know, if I just do something to backstab that person or to belittle them or berate them, do something unloving, because this is the way I view myself. Other people should view me this way. Someone could have seen through the illusion of who I am. They wanted me to grow up mature. How dare they? I'm going to backstab and betray them. And some people get in another relationship with people just because I want to backstab and betray the person who wanted me, how dare they, to work through some of my issues. I'm this loving, stable, grounded, maybe successful person in the world. How dare they think that to think that I should live my life any differently than the way I live my life. But those people did kind of illuminate that maybe they are kind of superficial and shallow and have some fears and insecurities. But instead of dealing with it, I just want to backstab you or get rid of you. And if you're not around, then I can keep living in illusion that I am, like I harness high vibe Aquarius energy. I'm not selfish. I'm not greedy. I'm not prideful. I'm not egotistical. I'm not materialistic. But to a degree, they are. They just don't want to see the truth of it. So then let's just get rid of the people who authentically do harness a more high vibrational Aquarius energy, and let me go hang out with the people who are on the same page as me, and we can keep the illusion that we're not all those things, but we really are more driven by our ego or our image or materialism. And love really isn't what drives us, but we want to stay in denial of that truth. And so some people, it's just because I want to backstab someone else. I don't like that person loved and believed in themselves to work through their fears and insecurities, because in order to move forward with them, I would have had to do that work. And so basically that person kind of went to the next phase of life. If you were to look at life as a video game, they conquered the challenges and obstacles on the level of life we were to go to the next level. They probably offered me love and encouragement to go with them in that way. But I'm okay repeating the same pattern. And some people, they've mastered a pattern of life. They know it like the back of their hand. But that's where they want to stay, because if you go, you have to expand your perception of yourself in the world, or how you view life, or how you view relationships, or you have to heal or grow or mature or something to go to the next phase of life. And they're unwilling to do that. And it could just be, it would require me to learn to love myself or get more balanced and operate with people authentically from love versus using my emotions more manipulatively in a relationship to get what I want. Where it is them kind of protecting themselves. not having to be more authentically themselves. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Aquarius energy that they might not see coming? The Queen of Pentacles and the Six of Cups because of the Three of Swords. As people do this work within themselves emotionally to meditate on the truth, everybody has their own idea of what they think is just and fair. And if some people in our life want to live their life the way they want to live it, whatever that is, that's kind of in a way is just and fair because they have the free will to live their life whatever way they want. But if we, having come into contact with them, realize that that's not quite aligned with our truth and that maybe the only reason we would have stayed in it was more out of fear or insecurity and not loving and believing in ourselves, the high vibe people emotionally invested in dealing with their past pain and heartbreak and their self-limiting beliefs and love to heal, to reconcile themselves with the past, to come to peace and balance about the past. And again, some people maybe didn't want to do deep, meaningful relationships because their truth is they're more about themselves or indulging in the things of the world more than being in deep, meaningful relationships. And that's our free will choice. And the other people are like, no, I want to invest in relationships that I think are more aligned with my truth, which can be where people let their more vulnerable, authentic nature out to play in the world. To be more authentically yourself. Let your inner child come out to play in the world, loving yourself enough that you believe you can go out there in the world, being your hopeful, believing, loving nature, and that you could pick yourself up if things don't work out the way you want. And you want to be in relationships with other people who are like that. And I think as you do this work within yourself, there's going to be other people. The Queen of Pentacles can represent workplaces, family dynamics, friendship dynamics, that there's going to be other people who are going to want to invest in you emotionally and be in relationship with you because you don't act in these shadowy ways of being. You've grown and matured yourself to have learned some lessons in life to the same degree that they have. And they think that they could have a just and fair and emotionally balanced, deep, meaningful relationship with you. And of course, we've got duality, we have free will choice. There's going to be other people who just want to be the next person to invest in a relationship with you, to have a place to rest within or heal or to repeat their pattern. And we don't know if some of the people we get into are at that next phase of life and they're going to want to stay at that pattern or not. It's like, I'm going to listen to my intuition, who seems to be on the same page as me, who isn't, who just wants to be in a relationship because something else didn't work out, wants me to repeat an old pattern. And I think you'll I will talk to you and get to know you, but I might not have a more deep involved relationship with you until I'm illuminated to the truth of what your truth is, what drives and motivates you, and if you're willing to reveal the truth. Or are you trying to tempt me in my more worldly nature? Or are you offering me the truth and being authentic? And the people who are being authentic, who seem to be on the same page as me, are the people I will invest in. The other people, I'll wish them peace, love, and joy, but I won't be getting in a deep, meaningful relationship with you. And so you could have, if you're looking for a job, people who are on that same page as you, because there's employers too, and people you could interview with, that if they see that you seem to be someone they can't manipulate or control or boss around or whatever, more codependent, they won't hire you, but more emotionally mature, stable, grounded people will. And you might have somebody, if you're looking for a job, offering you a job. If you're looking for friendships and relationship, there's going to be, as you keep meeting people and investing in people, you're going to find the people who want to be in a relationship with you because they're on the same page as you. And the people who aren't on the same page as you won't. Some of those people could be sad. Some of them would like to be in a relationship with you, but they're only willing to get in a relationship with you if you don't keep loving and believing in yourself. Because that's the only kind of people that they want to be in a relationship with. Because that's maybe where they're at. Okay, what's coming up for the people who harness some more worldly, shadowy Aquarius energy that they might not see coming up? Okay, we have 2 cards. Flip in the middle of the deck. So we have the 3 of Pentacles and the Judgment card. Let's go see what these are. The King of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles. With some of the shadowy people who are being kind of manipulative or bossy or controlling or kind of full of themselves, what they didn't see coming is that some of the high vibe people in their life no longer want to keep investing in them. Those people have freed themselves from their more worldly nature, and they're holding themselves and other people accountable for their actions and calling judgment on some of these people. And they could be surprised. What? You used to invest in it before. It's like, yeah, not anymore. Why? They don't understand why. Is because you quit harnessing these energies in a shadowy way, which could have been living more from your mind than your heart. You know, at one time, the King of Swords is Libra energy, about what we think is just and fair. You know, at one point in time, we thought, you know, just like when we were age 15, when we were living life like a 15-year-old, it was just and fair to live our life like a 15-year-old. Yeah, that's what we were going to invest in. We were like 15 years old. But then as we get closer to being like an 18-year-old, and we've learned some lessons in life, and we've kind of grown and matured ourselves, we're ready to go to the next phase of life. And they probably were speaking the truth and offering these resources to some of the people in their life to go to that next phase of life. And the other people kept saying like, no, no, no. And so eventually like, I'm done. I wish you peace. I hope it works out for you. And now I'm harnessing these energies in a more mature way, enlightened way. I've gotten more balance within myself. I've grown, I've healed, I've matured. I'm ready to go to that next phase of life, and you're not. Or you don't want to move forward with me in that way, maybe in a more just and fair and authentic way, or maybe, you know, it's just like having a job where you want to take on more job responsibility and there is no career advancement. You know, just like we want to be in relationships where a relationship grows and matures over time, and some people don't. Let's just keep doing it the way it is. It's like, well, I kind of feel like you're kind of indulging in a relationship with me. Like, the relationship isn't growing and maturing over time. Why are you even in the relationship? Oh, you don't want to do a deep, meaningful relationship? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, well, I'm not going to keep investing in you then. And they didn't expect that. Because if they would stay in relationships more because of just to be in a relationship, or out of their fear or insecurities or codependency or money or materialism or status, they can't understand why you're not willing to stay in it for those reasons. And it's like, because you saw the truth. Love is what makes it all worthwhile. And if you're in a relationship where people don't want to grow and heal and mature themselves, and they want to just keep repeating this old pattern over and over, it's like dead energy. What about continuing to grow and mature ourselves? What about the relationship growing and maturing itself? And the other people were like, no. And they're like, okay, I'm leaving. Another thing they might not see coming is there's other people who are going to decide to live their life like this with them. If they're another loving person, this whole scenario is going to play out again. And they're going to say, why don't these relationships work out? Poor, poor, pitiful me. And it's like, because you repeat these old patterns, or you're hiding behind your ego, or you're using your emotions manipulatively, or, you know, you're not willing to work together with people in a more balanced way or in a just and fair way. You know, you could be more about people indulging you and it being more about you. But they could get in a relationship with someone who's more like themselves, and that person could be hiding the fact that they think this makes logical, practical sense. You know, it could be more about money and materialism and status and image. I want to be in a relationship where it's, you know, some other people have been in relationships with people who wanted them to heal and grow and mature and be in a more deep, meaningful relationship. And I was like, no, I think I'll go get in a relationship with this person. I think we're kind of on the same page. I think we're kind of more about the ego or the image or indulging ourselves or being in our more immature nature. You know, we've been hurt before and we don't want to deal with our past pain and heartbreak. We just don't trust anybody now. So I think I'll go get in a relationship with someone else who's decided not to do love. Or I also want to backstab someone who, how dare they expect me to grow and mature myself. And this person seems to be on the same page as me. And I think if we stay in a relationship, it'll look like we have all these things of the world. Judgment has gone in our favor. And we in our shadow energy, again, we can go invest in all these things in the world thinking this is the right way to live life. This is going to make me happy. And I think when we haven't been illuminated to the truth and we had some lessons learned, we could end up feeling stuck. It's not the emotionally balanced, loving relationship that we thought it would be. And for some of the people in the world who are like, I don't want to do love, I am more about the ego and the image and using my emotions manipulatively. For some of those people, they might feel judged. And they could have thought, well, if I create this illusion in the world that I'm this pillar of society, you know, I don't think people will see through the illusion of who I am. I don't think they'll see the truth that I might be more worldly focused, ego focused, materialistically focused, self-indulgent focused, self-centered, egotistical. But you can only fool some of the people some of the time. You can't fool all the people all the time. And I think they might realize there's more people who kind of see the truth about why they do what they do, that you're really not who you say you are. And other people will be illuminated to the truth. That people had loving people in their life that if they were willing to do the inner work within themselves, they really could have had a truly abundant foundation in lots of ways. Maybe not as much money or status or image or being indulged in their defensive nature or ego nature. But they could have had a creative, inspired, emotionally mature, deep, meaningful, just and fair and balanced relationship, but they weren't willing to do that because they weren't willing to work through some issues within themselves. And so I think they too are going to feel stuck in a relationship they got in. By worldly standards, the Chariot talks about looking victorious. It's just that they might end up in a relationship with someone who's like themselves, which is just and fair. And nobody's really everybody's being emotionally manipulative to get what they want. And it is this superficial, probably and shallow relationship. But that's what they aligned with within themselves. Well, then, you know, they're going to align with other people who are kind of on that same page. It's just not a relationship based on love because they themselves weren't willing to do love. And so the loving people that they could have been in a relationship with have moved on. And the loving people are going and investing in other people who have healed from past pain and heartbreak, to have freed themselves from it, who are moving forward swiftly, letting love and intuition guide the decisions they make instead of fear or insecurity or pride or ego or lust or greed. So there you go, Aquarius energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.